And I've just turned my microphone on, so one more time. Good evening. There's always got to be some little flaw, and mostly it centers around the microphone. We are back to using the older microphone again, and I'm trusting that it's working. Let me know if you can't hear me. Otherwise, I'll assume you can. Good evening, Steve. Glad you're here. Oh, I love these evenings together. It's kind of like family reunion with family you really want to be reunited with. Spending time with people you really love and people of like mind, if you will. Um, Still not very loud, Steve. I wonder if there's something I can do on this end. Does that help at all? Chuckling. I've done all I know to do. Good evening, Rosa Maria. Glad that you're here. Hello, Brenda. Oh, this is fun. It's fun watching people come in. It's like having an open door and having people just keep walking through. I love it. I love it. Um, it's an easy way to hostess something, isn't it? I just love this. You don't have to clean the house. You don't have to hire a caterer. This is terrific. Um, okay, good enough. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. I have turned it up. There's no volume control on this microphone, so it just is what it is. But we've sent the other one back and told them we couldn't get it loud enough. It worked somehow for some of you, but not for everyone. And then when we listened to the playback, it could have been louder at that level too. So we're back to the old microphone until a new one shows up and waves its hands and says, me, take me, and I'll be good for you. Um, and no cooking. Yes, Steve, we're talking about the beauties of being able to hostess a party this way. The advantages of having all of your best friends come and you don't have to have a head count ahead of time. You don't have to, know all of that stuff that you need to know if you're going to throw a party. This is just open the door and see who walks through. So glad you are all here. Let me know what's on your mind tonight. Let me know if you have questions. Um, Let me know if you have answers. Answers are good. Here we are again on Wednesday night. I want to talk to you about something kind of specific tonight too. I have my notes on what I'd like to talk to you about. That couple of things came across my desk this week, and there was a point at which two of them in particular melded and just said, "Talk about us." So I'm going to do that. I am. How's the weather where you are? Is life good? Is your life good? Is it going to be better after we spend an hour together? I hope so. That's my intention, anyway, of being here, is that all of our lives feel better for having been here. Okay, Ginger. Ginger is here. She says, make me feel better. I'll certainly try to do that. It makes me feel better knowing you're here, so that's a good thing. Hi, Dana. Haven't said hi to you yet. Um, this is fun. This is fun. I love it. Life is good. Life is good. It's very strange in Ventura right now. We live up on a hill, and I'm looking out my office slider window door thing, and the sun is shining here, right here. The sun is shining. Probably won't be for too much longer, but it is shining and it's bright and it's clear. And at the bottom of the hill, the marine layer has hit. So the flats are all under marine layer and kind of grayed out, and it looks like a cloudy, yucky day. So I'm glad I'm up here with you guys. It's a good place to be. Ah, my tea is incoming. Hold on. Thank you. All right. Well, let's just see where we are and what kind of trouble we can get into, shall we? Good evening, Susan. Glad that you're here. I think I've officially said hi to everybody. Hi to Cac. Everybody say hi to Cac. Hi to Cac. And so while you're thinking up what I'm watching Steve's autocorrect working over there. I just stop looking at your stuff because it makes me laugh, and then I can't concentrate on what it is I'm supposed to be doing. But I'm very glad you're all here. I am thrilled that we can be here together for yet another Wednesday night. Um, Someone commented on Sunday that it would be a nice thing if I could put a donate button into the talk or right under the talk or wherever the donate button goes. Um, we were told we couldn't do that, but now I've been told yes, we can. I just have to jump through a few hoops. So I'm checking on the hoops, making sure they're not on fire, and we'll see if we can't do that for those of you who would like to donate that way. Okay? Okay. So, I mentioned that a couple of things had come across my desk this week. One of them actually came through Facebook. Donna Wells sent it to me with a notation that she thought I might enjoy it. And I did. And I would really like to share it with you. They are the words of William Henry Channing, who was a clergyman and reformer in the 18th century from 1810 to 1884. So that's right, right in the 18th century. No, it's not. That's the 19th century, the 1800s. I'm not real good at that, never have been. Anyway, Reverend Channing said this: to live content with small means, to seek elegance rather than luxury, and refinement rather than fashion, to be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich, to listen to stars and birds, babes and sages with open heart, to study hard, to think quietly, act frankly, talk gently, await occasions, hurry never. In a word, to let the spiritual, unbidden, and unconscious grow up through the common. This, he wrote, this is my symphony. Isn't that just a fabulous affirmation of the life you would have? Certainly the life he would have. And what I've noticed is that sometimes what gets in the way of seeing the world that way are the appearances that keep us from seeing the beauty. It is as if the stars and birds and sages are all shouted down by the noise of the headlines, as if the ability to think quietly is canceled by the bleeping of the notification on your iPhone. Is it just me, or have you ever had trouble getting beyond the stuff, the appearances? Getting beyond all that. Like remembering that the sun is shining on a cloudy day. Or that you really do love your kids when they have just done something so stupid you want to question their genetics. Or knowing that you are perfectly healthy right after you coughed, and so you had to touch your forehead to make sure you weren't running a temperature. Ever had that problem? I'm sure we all have. I have. A lot in the past, and I still do, sometimes. And sometimes I need a little help, a word or two from someone who isn't wrapped up in my appearances, someone whose brain is seeing something that I, in the moment, can't see. So, beyond the beautiful reading that Donna sent to me, I found some more inspiration today. It was part of the daily word from Unity. It said, in part, I see a clearer view ahead, as if I had washed the window through which I look at the world. I feel my shoulders lift, as if finally setting down a heavy load that I've been carrying for a long time. You ever felt like that? Like you're just carrying this load that won't end? That you've been carrying it forever and it's heavy and you're tired, you're weary. There's a tarot card that matches that. It's the Ten of Wands. It looks like this. Just a man carrying a load that is almost unbearable. The thing about this card is that it is there to remind you to keep going because you're almost there. Just beyond where he is the place he is going. And so he's almost finished. It's a reminder to keep going, to be persistent, to not quit because you're almost there. But what really got me about the daily word reading was the idea of washing the window through which we look at the world. Which of course got me to thinking about why the window might need washing. We have a regular visitor here at the house, a little brown bird that Cac has named Birdie Bird. Birdie Bird loves the dish of water we set out for all the birds to drink from. Birdie Bird loves to drink the water. But even more, Birdie Bird loves to bathe in the dish. And having taken his bath and being all clean and prettified, he loves to show his gratitude by throwing himself against the window over and over and over again. He does his little gratitude dance not once or twice, but for many minutes at a time, sometimes several times a day. Why he doesn't knock himself unconscious is kind of a mystery to me. And why he keeps coming back time after time is an even greater mystery. You'd think he'd have a headache. But there he was this morning, once again, bathing and then barnstorming. Now, we have hard water here. Really hard water. So the window is a mess. At least his little corner of the window is a mess. And you can't see very much through it because when the water dries, it leaves hard water marks on the window, and that builds up, and, well, you get the point. Now, we love Birdie Bird. We're very entertained by him. And he's not showing any signs of going away anytime soon, and we're happy for that. He's also not showing any signs of changing his behavior. So we've surrendered to having that side of the window being pretty unclear most of the time. Now, hang in here with me. There is a spiritual lesson in all this, I promise. We know it would be nice to have a totally clear window. The view of the yard would be much nicer. The flowers would be brighter. But we've made a conscious choice to let the window remain cloudy between cleanings and enjoy the antics of Birdie Bird, at least for now. So for now, part of the view from the window is unclear. But the window has been cloudy before for different reasons. I've mentioned this before, but for those of you that might not know, we live in the Thomas Fire zone. And right after the fire, those of us who were lucky enough to still have a house with windows, we lost a few of them in the backside of the house because of the heat of the fire. But the sliders off Birdie Bird's kitchen survived. Because of the smoke and the dust, when we moved back in, the windows were almost impossible to see through. Calamities will do that, won't they? Obscure your view of the world and make it difficult to see things clearly. So we finally got the windows clean, but not without a great deal of elbow grease. And sometimes later, because of all the construction, people rebuilding their houses, the dust became a problem, and the window was once again difficult to see through. I tried spraying it down with a hose, and it looked pretty good until it dried. And that's when I realized how hard the water really is around here. The window was covered with a combination of construction dust and water spots, and the view was once again unclear. Now, there are lots of ways you can mess up your view. Lots of ways to make the window through which you see the world unclear. You can be on the wrong side of Mother Nature on a bad day. You can use a product that someone else gave you only to find out that it makes things even worse for you. You can be trying to make the window better but not aware that you just aren't doing it right or doing it with the right stuff. You might have made a conscious decision at some point to let it be for whatever your reasons, which makes perfect sense at the time, but that time may have passed. And you are still living with the results of a decision that is no longer appropriate. If Birdie Bird ever goes away, we're going to want to clean that window and keep it clean. So by now, I know that you've probably figured out that I'm really stopped talking about windows because it isn't the window that I'm concerned about for you. It's the view. Your view of the world and where it comes from. Washing the windows is about clearing whatever is in the way so that you can enjoy and benefit from and love the view. It's being able to see things as they truly are, to see them rightly, in a way that works for you and in a way that makes your life work. The daily word from which the phrase about washing the windows comes includes these words. I use positive statements of truth to redirect my focus from a limiting, discouraging outlook to one of confidence and optimism. So, are you seeing the world with confidence and optimism right now? It can be challenging in times like this. There are headlines and numbers and experts who don't agree and facts that don't seem to be being kept straight. In order to be optimistic, you might have to work a little harder than you normally would at keeping your windows clear. Daily Word suggests you use affirmations. And affirmations work. May I also suggest affirmative prayer, because prayer works. And I had this idea today about getting a good news buddy and checking in with them daily. To make a commitment to each other, to call, to talk, to communicate somehow, even if it's by email, but to only share good news, not to rehash the 6 o'clock news or sympathize over the bad news or make judgments, right or wrong, about other people's judgment or lack of same, and agree that you will communicate with each other and you will call each other on it if you fall into the complaining pit, the dirty window pit. That you will help each other overcome the bad news and recenter on the empowering news of who you really are and what you are really all about. The results, I think, could be astonishing. You will not only see a world, your world, in a better light, you will be affirming your personal power and removing the tendency to see yourself as a victim. You will be more positive, more capable, more ready to face the challenges of the day rather than complain about them. You will see the good and be the best that you can be. The daily word ends with these words. I feel invigorated as I remove all the blocks that decrease my awareness of the flow of divine life in me. As words of truth fill my conscious mind, I shimmer with quiet excitement and verve. Starting today, I feel truly alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastic. I love the word enthusiastic, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm comes from the Greek, I believe, and it means filled with spirit, filled with God. Don't we all want to feel like that? Don't we all want to feel alive, alert, awake, and filled with spirit? Shimmering with spirit. Don't you love it? Won't it be fun to shimmer? Not shimmy, shimmer. Just imagine yourself shimmering, being so filled with life and light and love that you glow. Imagine yourself filled with divine light, feeling, to borrow a phrase, the incredible lightness of being filled with love and happiness, feeling invigorated and strong and divinely energized, and perfectly capable of dealing with your life and the world. So here's the point. If the windows through which you view the world, your world, have become distorted, clean them. It doesn't really matter how they got that way. It really, really doesn't. What matters is that you recognize that you're not seeing clearly, and not just complain that you can't see or think or act clearly, but do something about it. If your world feels grimy or cloudy or out of focus, clean the windows through which you view it. The whole world looks like a more beautiful, more friendly, more wonderful place when the windows are clean. If they aren't clean, however they got that way, whoever may have contributed to the occlusion, these are your windows, and it's up to you to keep them clear. And what better time? It's spring, after all, and it's always time to do spring cleaning, especially when we're talking about your view of the world. I can see clearly out my window right now. And the marine layer is moving in, and so it's not terribly clear under the marine layer. But what I know, what I absolutely know with all my heart and soul, is that the sun is still shining and the sky is still blue. if I can't see it. Maybe I just need to clean the windows. So here's a new one for you, old friends. Clean the windows and change your life. So those are my thoughts for today. How's it with you? What's going on now in your mind? If I haven't said hello to you yet, I'm sorry. It's probably because I've mentioned this before. My little thing on the side where your comments come in take probably the first 6 or 8, and then it kind of freezes up, and I'm afraid to touch it because then things have a tendency to go away.
Rosa Maria says she's open to receive her highest good, and her window is wide open. She can see clearly.
Good girl. Good girl. Yay. And isn't that exciting? And Susan's having good, positive, squeaky, clean thoughts of God and love. Isn't this fun? Say, well, if you know me, you know this about me. I don't think spirituality has to be always a dire, serious, looking down kind of thing. I think we can pray with laughter. I think we do. I think we can connect with the infinite through silliness, even. My theory is if you get people laughing and smiling, they listen better somehow. We don't feel like we have to defend ourselves. We don't feel like we have to keep an arm's length from anything. We just kind of jump right in. So, hola. Peggy's here. Nancy's here. Susan's here. Oh, people, I love you all so much. Steve's vision's been almost clear. I love this. So clear for the last 2 to 3 months, it's almost scary. Yeah. You know, Steve, that part about I don't have a penny according to the bank, but I've never felt richer really speaks, doesn't it, to that first reading, the one that Donna sent me, that talked about being wealthy, but not rich. When our life is going right, we feel wealthy. We feel like the whole world is ours. And, you know, that's, in the long run, better than a high numbered bank account that we're still not happy. Okay, Donna, yes, I read the whole thing because it's beautiful and I thanked you up front for it. So yes, please do listen to the replay of the first part. Steve says Bertie Bird is a charismatic Baptist. That may be true.
Maybe he's John the Baptist.
He may be John. Well, he's Bertie Bird the Baptist.
Bertie Bird
Yeah,
the
he's
Baptist.
Bertie Bird the Baptist. Oh, you know, it's this silly bird. He was around for a while, several months ago, and then he went away, and we figured out he probably had knocked himself unconscious, or was, you know, in recovery somewhere from all the damage he had done to himself. But he's back. He went away for a while, and he's back, and he shows up every day now, a couple of times a day usually. We can hear him tapping. The kitchen's downstairs. We can hear him hitting the kitchen window from upstairs. He's hitting it pretty hard. Um, I my personal feeling is that he's fallen in love with Cac, and he's just trying to communicate with her because it's mating season. Um, but he can't get through the window. He's never gotten through the window, and he just keeps trying. He's persistent. He gets persistence points. Maybe not bright points, but certainly persistence points. He and the squirrels, that's our morning entertainment. While we're having breakfast, we watch Bertie Bird impale himself on the window, and we watch the squirrels trying to eat everything that they can in the backyard. And if you've got a really good squirrel repellent recipe, do let us know what it is. I would also, um, I would also love to have new ideas. So, anytime you run across something like Donna did, please feel free to post it here and I'll steal it and use it. I love inspiring things and every once in a while my mind goes totally blank. Um, Next week I will be talking on Sunday and then speaking again on Wednesday night. And then I think it's next week. It's the first Sunday of the month. I'll also be speaking, taping a talk for Unity Ventura. And they called yesterday and asked for a title, and I thought, 2 weeks ahead of time? You want a title? Oh my God, I don't think that far ahead. Well, I do for some things, but not titles. I like to be inspired by something. So if you've got some good ideas, please send them along. I would be thrilled to have them. Let's see now. Where else are we? Your comments are wonderful, guys. You're really on it tonight. Sounds like everybody's in a pretty good mood. Steve, oh, thank you, Steve. My heart is glad too. Spending time with you guys is good for my soul. Just good for my soul. So, it is well with my soul. It is indeed well with my soul. And and that's because of all of you. So thank you. Cheers. Tea and lemon juice. That's good stuff. So where are we? Let's see. Oh, I finished up kind of quick, huh? Yeah, I love the reading too, Steve. Dana says yes, and we have been silly. Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Yes, we have been silly. I like being silly. Silly's fun. Silly feels good. Serious feels good when it's appropriate, but silly feels good all the time, doesn't it? I think maybe we all need more silly in our lives. I'd make that a talk title, but I think it needs explanation. And I'd like to use Bertie Bird as a charismatic Baptist too, but the last time I mentioned Baptists in a talk I was giving, I was confronted by a Baptist who was visiting the church that day and wanted to make sure I wasn't making fun of Baptists.
She was a follower of Peggy Jones.
She was, Peggy, she was a follower of yours. We got to talking about that after I convinced her that I was not making fun of Baptists. And CAC was doing a workshop and had mentioned you, Peggy. And so she said, well, I watched Peggy for years and loved it. So we caught all up on what Peggy was doing. This was a couple of years ago. But good stuff. She called herself the Knitting Baptist. She had knitting with her in church, which is not a bad idea unless you're the minister, in which case people frown upon it. But she was knitting like a full-on dress with small needles and fine yarn, and she was obviously real good at what she was doing. So that was the Knitting Baptist. Let's see. Steve, yeah, I wish we could all have a group hug right now, too. Oh, Susan, how sweet.
Ginger has a friend who's very sick in the hospital with COVID.
Okay, Ginger, if you'll just put their first name in, we'll include them in our prayer before we close. Everybody seems to like my idea of nonsense. Steve says, it occurs to me that religion is designed to speak to our brokenness, while spirit always speaks to our wholeness. I think that's true of some religions, Steve. I'm not sure it's true of all religion, not being an expert in all religion. I wish I was. But there are some religions designed around that idea of brokenness. There are religions that say we are born with original sin, and that has to be washed out of us. And I can't imagine why God would put something in a creation as marvelous as a human being, but leave the contingency that it has to be washed out. And that once you say the words and take a spiritual bath, it's all okay again. That just never has made a whole lot of sense to me. Um, Shelley is the name of Ginger's friend, so when I mention Shelley in our prayer at the end, please know and join me in prayer for Shelley that he'll be all right. He'll be all right. That we'll all be all right. That God's present with all of us all the time. If we're being serious, if we're being silly, if we're talking sheer nonsense, God's right there listening, which might make you want to stop and think the next time you realize you're talking sheer nonsense and correct yourself if necessary, or just get into it and enjoy it. Virtual hug. Mm. Hug for everybody. Virtual hugs, spiritual hugs. Someday soon, I think, real hugs. Wearing our masks, of course. I have one of those, what is it, an N95?
Yeah, you do.
They are the most uncomfortable things in the entire world. They're designed for a face larger than mine, but I wear it. I wear it. Now, of course, somewhere along the line, I want, a fancy, girly girl mask. And then I want an elegant one for social occasions. Something maybe black with sequins would be lovely.
Shows them the healing, the healing tapping.
Okay.
That's the healing.
Okay.
It opens the lymph nodes and it gives you a sense of well-being.
If you couldn't hear CAC, and we don't know how well this microphone is holding up, what she said is it's a healing self-hug tapping process that opens up the lymph nodes and gives you a sense of well-being. Isn't that lovely? And you can do it all by yourself while you're staying home. You don't have to have another body around to hug. I know many of you do have wonderful people with you who can give you hugs when you need it. And we all need it sometimes. But for those times when you're feeling kind of alone and you'd rather feel good, this works. It works. Virtual self-hug in the meantime. So anyway, talking about religions and brokenness, Steve, because that's probably its own topic, isn't it, for another night. Lynn's here. Hello, darling. I'll take the huge virtual hug. Thank you very much. There are religions founded around the idea that we are broken and need to be fixed. There are probably some that are centered around the idea that we are broken and can't be fixed. Or that some people are broken and can't be fixed, not without a whole lot of work. I don't believe anybody can't be fine. What we believe is that we are a place where the divine is. We are, each one of us, an expression of God. It's as though God said, I want to get out there on that little blue planet, and I want to be all the things I can possibly be. And I can't do that all by myself. It would take forever. Of course, I have forever, but wouldn't it be more fun to be doing it all at the same time? So here we are. Each one of us, an expression of the divine. It is physically, scientifically, a miracle that each one of us is here. I'm not going to go into the whole process of how we get here. I don't need to do that. I actually listened to a minister one time do that. Talk about the whole process and talk about sperms and eggs and all the rest of that. And it's a funny talk. But the bottom line of the talk was that it's a miracle that we're here. Each one of us, as we are. It's a miracle. It shouldn't happen. But it does, time after time after time. So, miracle, you're a place where the divine has stepped into action in the world. You are living a life the divine wanted to experience as you, through you. So why not enjoy it? Why not allow the divine to express through you at the very highest, bestest level? Let it smile and sing and dance and pray and love and care. Let it do all those things your heart is calling you to do. Let God have a little fun in you. Why not? Why not let God express itself at the highest level? There's nothing getting in the way of that unless it's you. Don't let it be you. Wash those windows. Wash those windows. Let your soul shine brightly through. Be all that God can be as you. And don't worry about what anybody else says or does, because they've got their own God stuff to work with. You've got yours. And I happen to know for a fact that every one of you is divine. Each of you in your own way. Each of you doing exactly what you're doing in the world. And if you're not having a divine time, then you might want to change what you're doing in the world, my friends. Because life's too short to do it any other way, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh. Steve says, so it begs the question, where did that go? Hold on. My little thing moves. It begs the question, how can something help you heal when it keeps you focused on what is wrong? I don't think it can. I don't think it can. If you're, and for the simplest reason, if you stay focused on what is wrong, in this case, with you, with me, whatever, if I'm focused on what's wrong with me, then I don't think I'm a real great person. I don't think I'm a gift to life. I'm all wrapped up in what is wrong. And if I'm focused on that, why would I do me any favors? Why would I do anything to help myself? Again, see, wrong just begets more wrong. So don't go there. Don't go there. Focus on what's right. Focus on the divine within you. I think I saw another, yes, I did see another prayer request. Got it, Laura. Thank you. We'll include Helen for sure. Well, I tend to agree with you, Susan. I don't think there are any accidents, but there are, what's the word I'm looking for? Some things are lessons. I think we set ourselves up for them if it's a lesson we need to learn. You know, I don't believe in the God of Job that is purposely making people suffer, but I do believe that we create circumstances in our lives because there are lessons that we need to learn. We don't necessarily create them on a conscious level, but we certainly create them on an unconscious level.
Birdie Bird is here.
Birdie Bird is
Birdie Bird is out on the.
Birdie Bird is now out on the banister upstairs. Birdie Bird doesn't even come up here most of the time.
Birdie Bird.
I guess he heard we were talking about him.
Birdie Bird.
Okay. I've lost my techie person. She's off talking to her birdie bird. Um, ultimately, Susan, to get back to your thing, yeah, I think it's all for a reason. It serves the purpose of growing our awareness of our own power, our own soul. I said once very early on in my experience of science of mind that I had always felt that I was responsible for the bad stuff that was in my life. I was to blame for the bad stuff that was in my life. It took science of mind for me to come to the realization that I was also responsible for the good stuff. And it took a little more time than that for me to come to realize that even the bad stuff grew me, made me more understanding, made me wiser, taught me, if nothing else, what I shouldn't do because it didn't work, because it didn't support my life, because it didn't feel good in that place inside that feels good when we're in balance, in harmony with the divine, and doesn't feel so good when we feel like we're kind of out of balance with it, when we're going in the wrong direction. Does that help? Dana says, I call them divine appointments. Yes, I think they are. We don't always see that in the moment. We often don't see it in the moment. But there is the realization for all of us, I think, that there is a time when we stop and take a deep breath and go within and realize that everything in our entire life has brought us to this moment. Everything. And so, if we are in love with life, if we are enjoying life, if we are treasuring life in this moment, it is because of all of those things. All of those things. The good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly, all of it. All of it brought us to this moment. And we are, I believe, in this moment, exactly where we belong. But make sure that when you're looking at the idea of no accidents, that you are not placing blame. There's a difference. We can be responsible for being in a certain place at a certain time. We can be responsible for our words. Blame serves no one. If we need to undo something, let us undo it. If we need to unsay something, let us find a new way to say it. But let us not get all caught up in blame. I think that's Rumi's idea of the field beyond the place of wrongdoing and right doing. It's a place where we don't handle blame. We don't need to. We talk about self-responsibility because we're big people now. We're God's big people now. So having said that, I want to make sure we leave time for prayer. So I'm going to go there. Shall we? Let's go there. To Rumi's field, that place beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. That helps you internalize the words. Otherwise, just soft focus. Let the world fall away. And in this place, this sacred space that we create together, Let us recognize the presence of something greater than we are. But something that so loves us, it allows us to use it to create a heaven on earth. Something so unlimited, unbounded, unimaginably good that it flows freely in and through each one of us. It surrounds us, we are immersed in it, and it fills us all at once like a shimmering light. And so we too shimmer with that transcendent light that is the presence of God. Feel it. It is right there where you are in every moment. What I have learned is that when I forget and turn away, or just forget, the minute that I turn back, the minute that I remember, it is as though no time were lost, and it is still there, within, deeply, deeply within, and all around about me. And we know of this presence that it is divine. It is unparalleled. It is whole and perfect and complete and contains within itself all that there is. And so it is the very essence of love. It is the heart of beauty. It is the glow of wholeness. It is the answer of wisdom. It is all of everything. And it is all that we are, being part of the everything. And so I know this for each of us, that tonight we allow ourselves to be blessed by it. Whatever it is we feel we most need, that we claim for ourselves tonight. That we know comes through the presence and brings to us that which our heart most desires, that for which we may long. Whether it be health or happiness, prosperity, love, joy, answers, solutions, whatever it may be that we feel we have been lacking, we now claim, and so no longer lack. And we speak tonight too for the grace that moves through Helen's life, the understanding, the peace. We pray for her that her heart finds solace, that her mind understands on the deep and divine level. And we pray too for Shelley, that he is healed, that he is strong, that he is vibrant, that his soul makes his choices. And whatever choice his soul makes, that is his reality. And he accepts that with a joyful heart. Knowing that all of life, every phase of life, is a gift. And for others who we hold in our hearts, who we may feel could use prayer, let us simply claim that for them right now. That they are whole and heart happy and at peace and well. And speaking these words, I know that miracles are occurring right now. That each of us has found in our hearts our connection to the divine, and we have called that forth, and that works miracles. And so in deepest gratitude for the realization of these words and the words of your hearts as well, for the clarity with which we see through the windows of our soul, I am deeply grateful and accept it all, and let it be so. And so it is. I believe some very powerful work has just been done. Thank you for doing it. You have spoken your words, you have made your claims, and so it shall be. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for sharing this video or any of the videos. I appreciate that. Thank you for your very generous donations. You can make a donation until I fix this Facebook thing. You can make a donation at www.relevantspirituality.com. Thank you, Gag. Thank you, Birdie Bird, for joining us. He did. He actually showed up. I've never seen him on this side of the house.
No.
Well, I suppose it's time. I always hate leaving you. It's such a joy to be with you. But I'll be back on Sunday. I hope you will be. So until we meet again, know that you go with God. Because in fact, you can go no other way. #blessed.